All right, here we go. So, guys, today we are talking about showing up. And we're talking about showing up because, plain and simple, today that is not something that I wanted to do. I was not feeling super hot right now. Woke up feeling good and then kind of just faded as the morning went on. Did not want to train. Body was achy and sore, and still went into the gym this morning. Still did all of that, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about showing up, what showing up actually means to me, and then the different ways to view how you show up for yourself, how you show up for other people, all of that different kind of stuff. So we're going to get into it very quickly, but as you guys tune in, make sure to drop me a quick message. Let me know how the week's going for you. Let me know how training's going. Let me know how life's going. And then let me know what kind of topics you want to learn more about, both here and in my content that I post every day, so that you can continue to give me ideas on more things that we can deliver to you. So let's get into it. We're talking about showing up, excuse me, and we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the #1 show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I am your host, Kenny Dussel, and today we're talking about showing up. Now, plain and simple, I'm talking about this today because that is not something I wanted to do today. Woke up not feeling fantastic. It kind of faded through the day. Like this morning, just a little achy and sore from workouts this week. It's been a great week of training, but it's catching up to me a little bit. I've been traveling a lot, so I think my body's just a little bit run down and just, overall not feeling great. So the alarm went off first thing this morning, and my immediate thought was turn that shit off, roll back over, and wake up tomorrow. But I didn't, and I want to talk about that. So I still got up when I promised myself I would get up. I still went through my routine that I go through every day. I still went in to the gym at about 5:30 this morning. Probably closer to 6 this morning. And I'm still showing up for all of the things that I promised myself I do every day. So I'm showing up here. I'm showing up and doing the things that I know I do every single day, regardless of how I'm feeling. And I wanted to talk about that. Excuse me. And so when I talk about, discipline and sticking to a schedule and morning routines and all of these things that you'll hear me talk about quite often on this show, on my Instagram, TikTok, wherever else it is you might find me. When I talk about that, I think I don't talk about one side of that quite enough. And the side of that is what showing up really means. See, I've made commitments to myself over the last couple of years. Number one is that I wake up at 4 o'clock every single morning. And when I talk about that commitment, a lot of people, kind of roll their eyes and, think whatever it is they think about it. Oh, why do you have to be up at 4? Oh, yeah, typical motivational bullshit. Wake up before the world and blah, blah, blah. And plain and simple, guys, wake up at whatever fucking time you want to wake up at. But for myself, I've got big, high-level goals for my career. Things that are happening right now are pushing me very close to those goals and pushing me very much in the direction of those goals. And, for example, getting to work with Chris Curtis for his last training camp coming into UFC 297. And just a lot of other things. I'm running an international strength and conditioning seminar in Texas next weekend. Not next week, a couple weeks from now. Just a lot of things that I've been wanting to do for a long time that are really starting to happen. And these things happen, I firmly believe, because of the way I show up every single day. I'm not letting my feelings dictate how I show up. I'm showing up the way I promised to show up. But as an example, a day like today, body's sore, everything kind of hurts, I'm not feeling very good. What do? I still show up and I still do the things that I say I'm going to do. I still went to the gym for 6 o'clock this morning. I still got through my workout. I still did my team training session that I always do for the guys that I have working for me. I still did all of the things through the day that I promised myself I'm going to do. But on that note, one of the things that I switched up, I wasn't planning on doing a recovery day today, but my body felt like shit. So I was like, you know what? It's going to be an easier workout. I'm going to let myself just spend some time rolling out, let myself feel good, adjust how I show up based off of what makes the most sense. And I did the team meeting as I always do, because that's something, one of my big commitments this year is I want my team to be killing it in every department, marketing, with the actual coaching delivery, social media presence, each and every piece of the business itself. My goal is to be at the absolute best it can be this year. So the way that that happens is that we don't skip our team training sessions. We don't skip, the learning and the education that we go through every week. So I showed up and I did that the same way as I normally do. And I had 2 hours of that this morning. But then instead of coming home and jumping straight into work, I came home and I took a nap. And then I took a nap. And when I woke up, I turned on the podcast because like I said, I promised myself that I'm going to do a podcast every day, Monday through Friday through the week. And actually, there's a guy in my business coaching program, Austin Preckville, that has one more episode out than me right now. So I promised him in 2024, I'm going to surpass him. And so I want to make sure that he hears this. And I want to make sure that he knows that even on the days that I'm not feeling good, I'm showing up because Austin, I'm coming for you. Just a little inside joke there. But I'm showing up to do those things because I made the commitment to show up to do those things. And I have a lot of people talk about that, oh, but like if you're sick, you should rest. And yeah, but also think about it this way. Instead of, I don't feel good today, so I'm not going to do anything, ask yourself, what can I still do? Or what makes sense for me to do? So again, going off my example this morning, I didn't feel great this morning. I didn't go into the gym and try to hit the heaviest lift that I've ever done or the hardest conditioning I've ever done or do some, crazy, hard, tough workout. I went in, I stretched, I did some mobility, and I just got my body feeling good, right? I didn't come home from the gym and immediately jump into a hard day's work. I came home from the gym and I let myself chill a little bit until the time that I was turning on the podcast. I'm still showing up for this because even if I don't feel great, I can sit in a chair and I can talk about stuff that relates to athlete development. So why would I skip out on that? Why would I not do something that I feel okay doing when it's going to push me closer to all the goals that I talk about for my career? And this is the mentality that I think so many of you guys are missing. You don't show up on the days that you don't feel good because, well, I'm not feeling good, so I need to rest, or I need this, or I need that. But then when you're not showing up on the days that you don't feel like showing up, think about it this way. Every time you make a commitment, I'm going to wake up at this time in the morning. I'm going to show up for a podcast every day, Monday through Friday. I'm going to stick to my nutrition plan. I'm going to, whatever that commitment is, every time you make a commitment like that and you don't stick to it, whether you consciously think this or not, inside your brain, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I can't trust myself. I can't trust that when I say I'm going to get up at this time, I'm actually going to get up at this time. I can't trust that when I say I'm going to stick to my nutrition plan, I'm actually going to stick to my nutrition plan. I can't trust that when I say I'm not going to skip workouts, I'm not going to skip workouts. But the big thing you've got to understand on that note too is adjusting based off of what makes sense. Another example of that, I talk about my 4 o'clock in the morning wake ups every day. UFC 297 was January 20th, so last Saturday. And after the fights, I ended up back at the fighter hotel with Chris, with a couple of the other athletes that were fighting on the card, and ended up not going to bed until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So no, I did not wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning the next day because that would have made no fucking sense whatsoever. So I have those commitments, but I allow myself to make decisions based off of what makes sense, not make decisions based off of necessarily how I'm feeling. Does that make sense? So it's like, yes, if you make a commitment to yourself, I'm going to train 6 days a week, every single week, and then you come down with a horrible flu, don't go into the gym anyway, because the end goal of training 6 days a week, every single week, is to improve in your sport. And if you're going in with a horrible flu, first off, you're not going to improve while you're there. Second off, you're going to get a bunch of your teammates sick. You get what I'm saying? So it's about making the commitments. It's about showing up for the commitments, even when you don't want to. But then it's about learning how to logically make decisions around those commitments as well. You get what I mean? So again, when you're not, like, my challenge for you and what I want people to take away from this, and I'm trying to really make sure that I get it across well. But like I said, not feeling super fantastic today, so I don't necessarily feel like my brain's at 100% either. But my main point that I want to get across from this, and my main point I want you guys to all take away, if you're here listening or if you're listening back, is that you're not going to be able to show up at 100% every day. It's just not real. Like that, no one can. So instead of focusing on, I need to be at 100% every day and then beating yourself up when you're not, and then going through long 2-3 week phases where you just don't show up at all, when you wake up and you have that morning where you're like, man, I feel like shit and I don't want to do anything, don't just punt the day. Don't just say, well, I don't feel good, so fuck it, I'll come back at it tomorrow. Say, okay, I don't feel good. What is going to continue to move me forward towards those end goals that I talk about tomorrow? You get what I mean? So, like, when I woke up this morning and didn't feel good, yeah, I didn't want to still wake up, still do the cold shower, still go through my whole morning that I do. But I knew that I wasn't in such a bad spot that it would be a bad thing for me to do it. I knew that that was just my brain being like, no, just let yourself chill today. Right. So I still got up. I still kept to the discipline, kept to the promises that I make to myself, did all the things that I promise that I do every day. Then the meetings, the same thing. Those are something that I'm like, yeah, I didn't feel great. Like I would have loved to just roll back over and go to bed. But with those meetings, I'm like, man, I can sit at a computer and I can talk to my team and I can go over the things that we need to go over. So I'm going to sit at the computer. I'm going to talk to my team. I'm going to go over the things we need to go over. The podcast, the same thing. I might not feel great, but I can sit here and I can talk about this topic and I can deliver some value today through the podcast. So I'm going to make sure I do that. But then any of those extra things, I'm going to spend the rest of the day figuring out. I'm like, okay, what feels good today and what do I need to make sure I feel better tomorrow? So the main idea, guys, show up even on the days you don't want to. Show up even on the days you don't feel good or you don't, whatever it might be. But also be compassionate with yourself. Understand that you're not going to be at 100% every day. Understand that, there are going to be days where you wake up and your body's not in a good spot or mentally you're not in a good spot. And there's still going to be things that you can do to move yourself forward, but there are going to be things that you can push that are going to allow you to give yourself a little bit of compassion, put yourself back in a better position, and be more effective tomorrow. So, guys, that is it. That is all. I hope you got some value from that. If you did, I would love to know what it is. Make sure to shoot me a message across any of my social media platforms, and let me know what you were able to take away. Guys, as always, I appreciate you all for taking the time to tune in. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Thursday, and I will catch you on the next episode. And guys, we're going to stick around for a quick minute and do some Q&A.